Amazing. Back box. Another part of the accessories, the adapters. Now, like I said, you've got different colours. This is what we call a T box, because if you look at it, it looks like a T. You've got an opportunity for the conduit to come up at different points. When we think about where our cables actually run, there's plenty of different directions we actually need to go in. Now, you'd never do different colours, but when I went to the wholesaler, they only had a black one in stock, bizarrely. When we cut the conduit, just push it straight in. Get it in as far as you can. I don't know whether you can see, but we're going to go up as far as we can to the internal side of that T box. You can get a four-way, so there's another one here. You can get a through box where it just goes through. An angle box where it comes at 90 degrees. There's loads of different boxes. You get Y boxes. This corresponds to the same as steel conduit as well. And obviously the sizes go up as well. And you can also get a terminal box where it's just one goes in and it stops on its own. There's nothing else coming in or out. It terminates there, just like a train line. Terminates. It's all the same gear you're going to use in the college. What I've done, I've drilled a hole in the back. You'll have a hole in the back of yours as well. Sometimes it's best off just having one hole in the back. I'll just drill that out with the hole saw. 20mm, again, all the way around. You put it in the middle. When you do your installation of the containment, the PVC conduit, you've got a little bit of play there. Now, you've got these two holes here. They have a bolt, 4mm, similar to the bolts for the fixing screws of the switches and sockets. They're 3.5mm. The ones for our boxes, 4mm, and the brass, so they look gold. We also find sometimes, like we're going to put a ceiling rose on one of these, but you might have another box that needs covering up because you can't have the cables exposed, especially if we're using singles, because they don't have an outer sheath. We've just got one layer of insulation. We've got a box lid. The box lid goes on the front of there, covers it up. If it's outside, you might want to put a gasket in there, like a rubber gasket, to stop any water ingress. But once again, 4mm bolts go on there. These are our boxes. To fix the conduit onto the wall, we've got saddles. This is a saddle. Got these little screws here. They unscrew. I've got a Phillips. Oh yeah. When we mark out our job on the walls, exactly the same as we did with our twin and earth clip direct jobs. Got your shot lines, we've got your direction of the cable that's going to go. Now, what the conduit's going to do, the conduit's going to take over the direction of the cable. So wherever we fix anything on those lines, those square lines, like 90 degree, perpendicular, all that sort of stuff, the fixing points of the cable should have covered the chalk. Okay? When we look at the fixing holes on the saddle, which is this oval one, see that there? That oval one there? That's going to be fitted onto the wall, and we're going to screw into this hole, this oval hole. Now it's oval because you've got a little bit of play left or right, or if you're coming horizontally, up or down. Very important, you've got a little bit of play, so when we install all the containment, we want it all to look nice and pretty. We can make minor adjustments when we come to it, but we want to fix onto the wall using this. We're going to use 3/4 of an inch by 8. Now it's only plastic and it's quite brittle, this one. With our back boxes, you've got, I don't know if you can see, you've got a little bit of flex in these type, just the way the composite of the PVC has been put together, it's been mixed. This one, you've got a little bit of flex, but what you'll find is that this is a little bit more brittle in the back box. Don't, like I say, don't over tighten. It needs to be tight. Be careful as you're just nipping it up. That last like 1/8 of a turn. That you don't break these. You don't smash the bracket part. Here goes over. Look, very small. These little screws that go in. $20mm. That will sit in the wall, and that will keep the pipe nice and secure. See what I can get in there. There we go. The saddle supports the weight of the conduit. Okay? There's a lot more involved when we're doing the PVC jobs with regards to, even before we start thinking about doing the like installing the individual cables. We need to fabricate the containment, the conduit, whether it could be trunking as well. Might need to do some fancy cuts with our conduit or trunking. The fabrication of it, like this is like the next step up. You've had a good grounding, good foundational knowledge with where the cables should go, how to tighten, how to strip the cables. But now we're going to really kick on with those hand skills. And look, do you understand the tolerance of this pipe, this conduit? Because really, internally, it's got no support. Flex a bit, but there's a point where it'll kink. That's no good. When we start forming, because we can form 90-degree bends, we can do offsets as well, which is a little Z, if you like. Very easy to break when you stretch it too much. We've got to use, there we go, because the internal section of it is unsupported, we've got to use a spring. Now this spring, I can't remember how long I've had this, but it doesn't really be, oh no, I used it last year actually. What this spring does, it supports the internal radius of the conduit. Just use my cutters here. One thing I should really tell you as well, when we cut this, we could use a hacksaw, generally a junior hacksaw, to cut this conduit. We're cutting might not be as square as these. There we go. Just gives it a nice cleaner cut. Spring goes in there. Now, there's a bit of cable in the end of this. Now what that is, we put the spring in there, you don't know where it is. You don't have any idea the location of where that spring is. Now because this is pretty much, this piece of conduit is pretty much the length of the spring anyway, we know it's good, we know it's in there. It's from there to there, somewhere. But this might be a full 3 metre length of conduit. So what you would do, you put a little bend somewhere along this spring, and wherever it stopped, take this out. So it was like all the way down here. You need to be putting your bend, or you need to form it somewhere here. What I would do, I would take the cable to the end of where it was going in, double it over. When I've doubled it over, that will stop on the lip of the conduit, feed it in, feed, 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 feed. There's that, and as it stops, wherever the centre point of the spring was, that's where you should bend. That's where you should aim to bend. It's going to be here. I know that, it's in here. I know for certain, because I've already measured it on the outside, and I've doubled it over here. That's how bending the spring. We like to look after these boys, so treat them with a little bit of respect. Use the proper technique when we're bending as well. I'm going to make another video for that. Done the saddles, done the adapters, done the boxes. One thing I'd like to say to you as well, electrician's tape. Many of you probably use this on your footy socks or rugby socks, whatever sport you play. We're going to be tying the cables onto each other, okay? Have a little shifty. Got a little bit of blue, bit of green yellow. We'll cut a little bit of brown off, why not? You're going to use the electrician's tape to tie them together. Now, proper technique. I always say there's proper technique to everything. If you've got good technique, whatever application you're doing, you're going to do well. And if you use a technique and something doesn't go well, at least then you know you need to improve that technique. Make a conscious decision. Okay, so brown, green, yellow, and blue. Now, the obvious thing to do would be to put them together, wrap the tape around, and then off you go. Feed it through. But those three cables, it's like trying to poke your finger into here. A bit more difficult. And when we start looking at our adapters, that hole in there, those three are liable to get caught. So what we do, we stagger them. Stagger them, different lengths, so it's more of a gradual build-up of all three cables. Because if one goes round, then two go round, they feed each other round. So we stagger them, get our tape. Doesn't matter what coloured tape you use. This is green, yellow. Different coloured for different identification. But I started at the bottom, and I'm wrapping round. And I'm using my thumb to keep. To keep a little bit of pressure as I rotate. I'm starting to go up a little bit diagonally. As I'm going round, I'm pushing and I'm trying to stretch the tape. So as it stretches, it's tight. And I'm wrapping all the way around, keep wrapping. To this point, I've wrapped them up and corkscrewed up to the top. They're all nice and tight, staggered. It's like it's tapered up to a single conductor rather than having just like all three at once. I know what I can do here. Come back down. Now this, you just pull it a bit off. Get your thumb there, and that should pull. What you can do, it's a daft little tip. You may find there's a little bit of a hindrance to begin with. You might have more things to think about. But if you just leave that loose like that, when you've actually fed it through, there we go. Feed them in. Oh, that'll punch on now. Pull them through. When you've pulled that through, yeah, you could just cut them, but you might mark the ends of these. What you can do with that little bit of tape you've left like flapping, you can use that to unfurl. Because what you'll find, if you've got a lot of tape on there, when like you pull them apart, you've got to take it off. It might make your life a little bit easier. But singles, don't think there's much more to go over with regards to the type of stuff we're going to use. I'm going to do a separate video for forming 90-degree bend with the conduit. But there's only so much we can go over and go through until I actually get back into the workshop and you start using these skills. You start seeing how they can go wrong before we actually tackle any of the downfalls. But I will inform you if I think it's needed. Alright boys,